Hey friends, my name is Megan and welcome to episode 42 of A Naughty Mess Knitting Podcast. Okay, let's get right into it. I have a finished object, not a garment, and I'm wearing something kind of not old, something I made in the fall and I don't think I've worn for a while. So let's talk about that. I've made a lot of good progress this week. We have a long weekend coming up, so I plan to get some extra knitting done. Hooray. And a couple things, spinning wise too, making progress on lots of stuff. So, and not all of the things that I had wanted to get done last week. You know, before every episode, I like write down my goals for the next week, right? Because I'm already done with the week, podcast to podcast is how I think about it. So there were some things I didn't even pick up last week, which we'll talk about. But with a long weekend and we don't even really have plans. Like we're doing a little barbecue dinner with a couple friends on Monday night. So otherwise, I hope to get some more stuff done. My fingers are crossed. Okay, we'll talk about those towards the end. I do also have acquisitions this week. It's a full episode, so let's get into it. What am I wearing? This is the Superlative Sweater by Samantha Guerin. It is made with Boucle yarn. That's like what the intention for the pattern is. So let me give you sizing and the yarn, etc. And then I don't know if I'm going to stand up. I have pictures. I'm just going to put a picture up here. Maybe I'll do that right now. Of me standing and wearing this so you can see the fit. It's very sweatshirty feeling. It's so comfy. I wear it a lot. It's very spring-like here in the Pacific Northwest, as in it can't decide if it's warm or not, and my house is pretty cold. So I have been wearing some of my thicker sweaters still, which I don't hate. Then I go walk the dog, and we walk in woods that are right by our house, and I don't wear my knitwear to walk her usually, but I'll throw on a sweatshirt, and I've been still wearing like sweatshirts for sure because it's cold. Okay, there's your weather update here. So this is size 6. It's a 52-inch bust. Recommended ease is 4 to 8 inches. I wanted this very sweatshirt feeling, so I don't know, that's 7 inches on me. I don't normally go towards the end, like the higher end of like ease, but the drape on this is actually really nice too, even though like Boucle yarn is like that weird, it's weird. It's like, it's an odd yarn. I made it with 3.75 millimeter needles for the body, 3.25 for the ribbing. It's Explore Knits and Fibers Boucle DK, which is 240 yards for 100 grams in the color To the Stars Who Listen, which, as we all know, it's a very popular color that comes back over and over again. The Boucle is 100% superwash merino. Okay. The cuffs and stuff are also To the Stars Who Listen, Explore Knits and Fibers, but it is the Cashmere DK, which is 231 yards for 100 grams and an 80-10-10. Okay, so this is I'm going to just do a really, really quick rehash of the pattern. So the pattern is a top-down sweatshirty feeling. I have winter hair all over me, sorry. Drop shoulder knit. So my drop is pretty, the line is, you can see it in the camera. Actually, it's harder to see in real life than it is on the camera. So my drop line is here. It's definitely pretty oversized. You do back front. There is no short row shaping, which I do think this would have benefited from like a little bit of short row shaping. And then you connect body and knit. Pick up this stuff later. The cuffs and the neckline are all just 1x1 rib with like a sewn bind off, but the hem is folded hem. I feel like you could have done a folded hem at least for the neckline too, and that would have like kept it, so then it doesn't stretch out as much. I feel like it would have been fine, but whatever. I don't really care. It was less knitting. I do know, like, so a couple of us in my knitting group made this, or are still making. Ariel and Katie's still kind of making. Although I think Katie gave up on this pattern. The no short row shaping and like the size, and also the gauge is odd. So because it's boucle, it doesn't play like a normal DK at all. When people say like, oh, you can just substitute boucle into any DK pattern, I don't think that's true. I think you would have to dramatically like change your needle size. You would have to like take a lot of other things into consideration. If you think about this being a 3.75 millimeter needle for the body, like the gauge is probably closer to something that you'd get with like a 5 millimeter or 5.5 millimeter needle. So like, you know, I do think you could substitute. You would just have to make big changes and do math and things. The thing that is not, I mean, everybody knits differently, etc. But like, also this is a drop shoulder without any short row shaping. I think even though there's some good stretch in this material, just like naturally, it's for the sweatshirt feel for all sizes. Like I think it does help patterns so that anybody who has broader shoulders or have more neck muscles than I do, you lose some of the drop with that, right? Like then it pulls up and it becomes tighter than it should be in both where the drop is sitting and also like where your armpit sits. So I think weird things can happen if you don't build in a little bit to prevent that. Anyway, it fits great on me. So if you're similarly sized or shaped to me and you don't have like a lot of muscles, no matter what I do for upper body, well, okay, because I'm not like a rower or a climber or do actual upper body things. When I work out, I'm still like a weakling up top. So I don't know. I'm never going to get like big muscles here. That's okay with me. So this is what it is. I love the fit. I love the feel of this. It's an odd yarn. Boucle is so strange. Like it almost has like a terry clothy kind of feel, although like not terry cloth, like the texture is, but like the feel isn't. I don't know, whatever. If you haven't knit with it, I would say do maybe a smaller thing first and decide if you like it or not. Like Sylvan also finished her sweater, which I think she did the Northwoods V-neck, with boucle yarn, and just was like, I'll never knit boucle again. And I would totally knit with boucle again, but I'm not going to make a ton of boucle sweaters. Okay, there's some information for you. So let's go on to some fun stuff. What did I finish this week? It's not a garment, not one of the 30 garments on my needles. No, it's not that bad. But it is something I said I wanted to be done in 2 weeks, and I didn't touch it at all last week. But I busted my butt to get it done, and here it is. This is the Flower Vortex blanket. It is a pattern by Sanita Brenson, who is Bright Bag on Instagram. Really, I don't have like, I don't always even put a thing up for sizing. So this is, I think I used a 5 millimeter needle. This is worsted weight acrylic yarn from various brands and types. The pattern is written for like sport to fingering weight yarn. I would have a dramatically different blanket if I did that. You still piece them the same way, so like it didn't really affect how I made it. And she does write the pattern to tell you what to do if you change colors, like you have to join in a slightly different way for each round. And she does it for every round, so you could even change more. There are 8 rounds total per flower, so you could truly have 8 colors in one. I chose to do them all the same way, with the one, my magic loop being 1, the next 2 rounds being color 2, the first petal highlight being color 3, the second outer petals being 4, and then leaf, every leaf is green around the outside. Okay, so this is done. This is for baby, my cousin. He is my youngest cousin on my mom's side of the family. But he's not that much younger than me, like 18 months. Anyway, he had his first baby last year. She's 1 now. She's very adorable. I've not met her yet. I haven't gone home in the last year, so I'm gonna ship this to her, but it is done, and I'm gonna send this in the mail so that it gets to her. It's so cute though. Okay. And my intention is that it's longer, like kind of crib like, it's longer than it is wide, but honestly it's a blanket. It could go any which way direction. So here's what it looks like all together. It's so cute. It's like a silly kind of blanket. Like, I don't know. I don't even know if they're gonna like it. Maybe they'll just think it's so ugly, but I don't really care. It's for the baby. She's gonna find it entertaining. She'll like be able to stick her fingers in all of this. She's big enough now that I'm not worried about it having some holes in it. And hoping that it'll just go at the end of her bed, or that she could use it for playtime or what have you. So here we are. I just need to get it out in the mail. And I don't know when I'm going to do that, but I'm not going to put it off because otherwise it'll take me forever. I did lightly steam this. It is acrylic, so yes, I could have washed it. No, I didn't want to wait for it to dry. What I would say for something like this, there are a lot of ends. I did weave them in pretty well, but like I'll send instructions for them to put it on a delicates wash. If they have a garment bag, that's the best way to wash, especially if you're washing with anything else so you just don't get snags. And then you can tumble dry on air to get some of it dry, but I would just like lay it out somewhere, you know, in the sun or whatever, because acrylic yarn will melt. So, but I also think like things like this, like you probably don't have to wash it very much unless you get like really gross things on it, and you can also spot wash. So that's my advice anyway for anyone who has acrylic blankets. And that's done. And I'm happy it's done. The other baby that I have in the queue for blankets, which I will start this weekend, is born. She was born this week. She's very cute. I got pictures of her. I'm like so excited to meet her. And so now I have to get working on her blanket. Luckily it's summertime. I mean, she's a baby, so she'll need a blanket anyway. But I'll be able to whip it up pretty quickly. It looks like it's a little less thought, this blanket, like mental space. It's still a cute blanket. So what else do we have to go over? So that's my one finished object for the week. Let's go over the next project on the list, which we're going, so again, we always go in cast on order pretty much. That's how my chart is, or my little table is organized. So the next thing is not my Haley, because I did not pick that up. That was one of the things that just got laid by the wayside. My Haley and my Market Henley did not get any attention, just so I could get a couple of things, you know, completely done. Yes, I'm just going to replace needles, etc., etc. I'm going to put something else on my hook in replacement of that. I'm going to cast on another thing because I sort of cast off something, which is what I'm going to show you next. It is not totally done and it is wet. So I'm only going to hold it up for a second, but I do want to show you progress. I finished the knitting on my Stra Polo top. So this one is the one that I secret announced. It is a test knit for Tayler and Knits. And it is in conjunction with Woolfolk. It is sponsored yarn I got from Woolfolk in their yarn Straw, which is like their summer blend that they're like putting all these patterns out for. There's gonna be a couple that are released all at once next week. I think the official release date is like the 30th. They have a knit along starting June 1st. I don't know if they're going to do any like details for you to order yarn early if you want to, like yardage details. It's just called like the Straw Knit Along though, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, this yarn was gifted to me. It is the colorway S4, which is gray. I actually am really digging the color. It looks a little dark right now because it's still like pretty wet. I did wash this last night. I did have it drying with the dehumidifier on and the fan, and it's still real wet. So I mean, like very, very damp everywhere. I have it now just on the drying mat because I really decided I don't want to pin this. Like it's good the size that it is. Like I didn't have a lot of growth or anything. The one place I'll show you is at the very bottom. So this is what it looks like, and it's off the needles. I also, because this is like cardigans, it's just so annoying. I could pin this down, but I don't want to give myself, because of the collar, I don't want to like pull this outside of the shape it's going to be. So I think I'm just going to suffer with the fact that it might be rolling in a little bit when I sew it down. But this yarn is like weighty enough. I'm not really worried about it. It's not curling in a ton. It's just a little bit. So, okay. So where was I? I was at hole like 7 done. So I did maybe 3 buttonholes. And then I kept saying that I need a hem. There's no hem. It is, I mean, it's like a polo top. Like you're not gonna have a big, wide other kind of hem. So it is the same as the sleeves. You just like do a couple of, you have pearl facing rows at the bottom, just like 2, and then you bind off. What I do think, so I tried to do a loose-ish bind off because my sleeves ended up not like tight, but you know how bind offs can be when you're just doing like a traditional knit bind off. So I did it, that's what the pattern calls for. So I did a knit bind off, but I did it with a crochet hook to make sure I wasn't getting too tight. And it was feeling a little bit like wobbly and flappy when I washed it. Like it was like looking like very stretched out. It's since sucked in a little bit since it dried. So that's why I also didn't pin. I just like laid it how I wanted it without any, tried to like, you know, pat out any like weird stuff. And so the end actually looks like pretty good. Like it doesn't look like weirdly bubbly or anything. Yeah. So now all I have to do is sew down, and she writes an interesting thing in her instructions. So the sewing down, easy. Although there is no place to sew down. So let me show that to you because I just, you know, it's an interesting thing. I don't think it's like a challenge. It's just gonna like take me a little bit of mental energy to start. So here you have, oh, it's so hard to see because it's just so gray. But here you can kind of see there is like a slipped, you can sort of see it. There's a slipped row. And so this is going to give me a really nice fold. And when it dries, it'll be like extra nice. So this will be my fold line. And this is the non-buttonhole side, right? So then I'll sew down on the inside. But what you don't have is any kind of like indicator of what row you sew it on. So I'm going to just have to put like a ton of stitch markers to make sure I stay on the same line as I'm sewing, then I don't accidentally move over one or the other. She doesn't give a great method. Like she doesn't really use this method or video to help yourself sew down, you know, a selvage edge, which is what I have here, to the reverse stockinette, like to the inside of stockinette. So we'll see what I end up doing, but I think it'll be like a lot of light bulb stitch markers, just even pinned together with the row that I should be on, so that I just don't, you know, I don't want to have to like rip it out. That would be really a real travesty. But on the buttonhole side, you have to whip stitch your buttonholes together because you have one on each side and they'll match up. And like, obviously she puts notes about like, make sure that those are aligned, yada, yada. But she does say like cut a long like thread and whip down your buttonholes. And I wonder, instead of having like a ton of ends, because also you kind of have to do that after it's sewn down. I guess you could do it before, but like you'd either have tons of ends, buttonhole ends, to tie down, tie together, do whatever, because they're just going to sit on the inside, or you do a long one and you just pull it through the, you know, the channel that's there and just drop it down and then pick it up and whip stitch. And so I don't know what I'm going to do. Actually, like, I didn't really think about that. She puts the instructions second, but you could totally do the buttonholes first and then sew it down and it would stay in the right place. I'll see how I feel. I'll probably do the other edge first just to see like how it went. But yeah. So that is that. And now I'm actually going to go put this back on the blocky mats and I'll be right back. Okay, sorry. I also just bumped the phone on my way out to run it upstairs. It's back on the blocky mats. Okay. What I didn't tell you is all of the rest of the details. So that is size 5. It is 54 inches. The recommended ease is 6 to 12 inches. So that gives me 7, which is what it is, right? Like that's in the ease. I definitely wouldn't pick a bigger size. When I tried it on, which again, I'm blocking it without any stretching, I might be like slightly under 54 inches. Like it's hard to tell because without the thing folded and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I think that's like supposed to be 54 inches when it's buttoned. I just, you know, I don't love a ton of ease. I'm okay if it's a tiny bit smaller, just how it blocks out. It is full length. I used a 4.5 millimeter needles for the body and 4 millimeters just for the start of the collar. So the only time you're using that 4 millimeter is like to cast on, and like it's like 4 rows of the collar, and then you switch to which is double knit, and then you just switch to your regular needles and finish it out. And I think that's so the collar doesn't flare, because a tubular cast on can be kind of flared depending on you know, how tight it's hard to make it super tight. So that is obviously Woolfolk straw yarn. Like I said, it's color S4, which is like dark gray. It's 50% Ovis 21 Ultimate Merino and 50% linen. It's 164 yards for 100 grams. So I said this in the first video, which if I did that compilation last week, that puts it at a sport weight, but it is very much a DK weight. It's just super light because of all that linen content. So, and they call it a DK, and you know, if I would use it for a pattern substitute, like I think stitch wise it really is a DK. So let's go to next on the project list, which is my Sundial. This is a pattern by Iris H, who is Iris Makes. I am doing it for her knit along. I do also have an affiliate link for her if you would like to buy a pattern. You just put in my code. As a reminder, the code works on her website only. If you want the pattern on Ravelry, you can just purchase on her website and let her know, and she'll dump it in your Ravelry library also. Here, I also forgot to talk about this last week, but I did put it in the comments. This is the last week that you can get the discount for Can Be Crafty. So please use my code. It's a naughty mess, all caps, on her Etsy page. She put a really nice like little thing at the top of her Etsy page that I'm like working with her. But that I've talked about her stuff and given her reviews. So this is the single pirouette. I have the Pas de Deux, which I've been using for my Market Henley. I really like both of them. They both unattach, so like I could take yarn to go, which is also really nice, because as if you've seen like any other actual like Knitstagram influencers do like the car thing where they like put the straps on and then put it in the car glove box and knit in the car without having yarn twist or get all over your dirty floor. Genius. And so now I have like basically 3 of these little like buddies I can take off that are not on the base. Yeah. There's lots of other goodies that you can get too if you don't want to commit to one of these, but Carrie's really great to work with. One of the things I like about these too is like, even if you take it off the base, it sits flat, where some of the ones like you can get, you really have to have it on the strap because you can't, they don't sit flat. So like you can't just rest it on a table. So this can just rest. Anywho, this is still attached to my Sundial though, and it's been good because I've been having like at my desk and other places. I have not done very much of the Sundial. Like I added an inch, but it feels like I'm making progress. I don't know. It just actually looks more like a t-shirt to me this week. So here it is. I shoved it in a little bag. You can tell how wrinkly it is. But here's my, also I just want to talk about the stitch marker or my progress keeper. This is my Paella progress keeper from Hello Lavender. I have a good amount. I think this is, you know, probably 4 inches or so, and I probably need 10 to 12 inches of the body, or 10 inches and then the ribbing, something like that. So what I might do, we'll see. If I keep this my desk project, I probably will next week. What I'd like to do is focus on like the desk knitting being the body, but I have one more ball of yarn I have not wound up yet. And I have like a good amount of this, but I think I'll still wind that other ball and then do the sleeves so that they're done, so I can do a try on. The sleeves in the pattern are like relatively like girl t-shirt sleeves, which is, you know, kind of short. I will probably make them a little bit longer, not like long, but like just a little bit longer to give myself just a little extra coverage because that's what I choose. And I'm making this so I can do whatever I want. Those are the rules. But yeah, I'll probably pick up this sleeve because it's the only one that's like on holders. Maybe this weekend. Maybe I'll just like, that's a short win to do a short sleeve. Or that's a quick win to do a short sleeve. So I am going to put this away. This size is, oh yeah, sorry, I have a lot of stuff around me. This is a size 5. It's 44 inches. Recommended ease is 0 to -3 inches. So that's -3 inches for me. It's a 3mm needle for the body, 2.5mm for the collar, which probably is all the ribbing, but I'm not sure yet. This is Explorer Knits and Fibers, Cashmere Caverns in Grapefruit. That's her 80-10-10 mix, which is 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon, 435 yards, 400 grams. It's a 4-ply. It's nice and plump. It feels amazing. It's just like so nice to work with. Not that I'm working with like other bad yarns. It's just like so soft, and nice on my fingers. I don't know. That's nice. Okay. What's next? The next thing is my mixed rib camisole. So this is a test knit for Florence Miller, who is Handmade by Florence on Instagram. I am making a size F. I'll go through more details in a second, but let me hold up where I got to. This one got a lot of, so this week I finished the flower blanket, did all of the knitting for the straw, which I gotta tell you, it ended up being like 64 rows I had to do in the body, including like the couple buttonholes. It felt like a lot. Maybe even like 66 rows. I was really just wanting to be done with it. So I'm glad I did the sleeves earlier, because if I had waited for the whole body and then had to do sleeves, I would have felt like woof about it. That's my trick for doing sleeves early. So all the work on the straw, and then I did a ton of work on this, which is really good because this test knit is due 2 weeks from now. Sorry, one of these little guys is like touching my neck. Okay. I have a bunch of like weird stitch markers on the back of this, like Progress Keepers, that are the light bulb ones, and they're just like, they're nonsense. They don't mean anything. Okay, so here it is. What I did this week was, oh, sorry. Yeah, look at all that progress. I picked up I did the I-cord. So I did the I-cord for the sleeves. I did the I-cord for the neck, and I knit. This is where I was last week on the body. So I not only could I not use the Cordsmith because I don't have the mini. Travesty, I know. Do I need to get the mini? Probably now. But I knit like 5 inches of the body. So way to go me. I had probably only had an inch or so done before, and I did decrease it. I did like some waist shaping. I did more than I thought I would, because I tried it on and it's still like, it's not super form fitting on like under my boob. Like I could do it. So I might do like 1 or 2 more, just like pretty much all the way to the bottom, and then bind off, or like stop doing them for the last, inch or so. I have maybe 2.5 inches to go, maybe 3. And I will be done. You just go to the bottom, and then you do maybe a sewn bind off on the bottom. It's not an I-cord bind off, I don't think. Anyway, whatever. Oh no, it's a surprisingly stretchy bind off. So that's not a big deal. What I will say, here's my one comment so far. And I need to write this into the chat because I don't know how many people in the like test knit are actually doing these bigger sizes. But I think what needs to happen for this is I do like, I'm going to just, obviously I'm not going to go back for this part, but I do think the pattern would be a little bit improved if for larger sizes, this was increased in the number of stitches you pick up. It's such a short space, but like for my size, I would have preferred to pick up like maybe 4 or more. Like these are 12 stitch little, and you do it because I get why, it's like because of where the pattern is, to be able to do increases and decreases, but I really would have preferred to do like a 16 stitch wide instead of 12 stitches, and even if it interrupts the striping in the next section, because you're doing, because of the mixed rib, you know, this is a stockinette sort of rib, you would be doing your increases and decreases because you do make like a little pleasing, you know, sort of shape. But I think it would be nice if it was narrower, you know, makes the neckline just a little bit narrower for larger sizes. The other thing is that when you're a larger size and your bust is much bigger, that does not necessarily mean your neck is much bigger. So just keeping it like right now, the bind off is written to do, you know, 4 out of 5 for the sleeves for all sizes, but to do 1 across, like 1 and 1 for all sizes. And I think what you would really need to do is like, as you get probably above a size 5 or so, yeah, this will open up, etc. And it's not going to look really weird on me, but I think it would be nice if it was pulled in a little bit. So either changing the straps a little bit, and I would say, and doing something like do every 6 out of 7. Like, it's not even like a ton of stitches you need to decrease. It's just like, it's too many. What I'm going to do, because I'm not going to redo this because this is really woolly yarn and whatever, I'm going to wash it and block it and see if this will just maybe even not felt, but like smoosh in a little bit. But I want to also, like, if I think it's a little too wide, I'm just going to take fishing line and pull it through and tie a little knot on the inside and just have it cinch just a tiny bit with that. But I actually think it'll sit okay. Like once this is stretched, because it will go, you know, this will stretch quite a lot on me. So like it might be fine, but it might still feel a little bit floppy right around the front part. So it did when I tried it on after I did this, but I didn't have a lot of body. So it wasn't, you know, I don't know. I really like it so far though. I love the color. I like the idea of it. I just want to make sure that the fit is nice. That's why we test knit things. That's why we test knit in lots of sizes and you give the feedback and they change things or they make notes or something so people know. And I'll definitely put the notes in my Ravelry page as well. I can't wait to be done though. It's flown by. I mean, for the, yeah, I don't have sleeves and it was really a big accomplishment to do this, but this is a whole textured knit. So it was really, I mean, it's nice that it feels like you definitely don't even memorize anything. It's just reading your knitting and it's so simple, the repeat. But it's also like, yeah, it's just knitting up in a reasonable fashion. So I will definitely finish this weekend, 100,000%. Not only because I need it to be done so I can take pictures, etc., and give all my notes in, but also because I want to move on to other things. So there we go. Oh, I sort of did the sizing. So that's a size F. It is for 125 centimeter bust. It's supposed to have a built-in 10 to 15 centimeters of negative ease. I did pick, I'm 120. There's 115, 125. That's what everybody always does. I'm always in the middle. It is 3mm needles for the body. The I-cord pickup was 2.5. I think I ended up using 2.25 because I had sock needles around. I couldn't find my 2.5. And also I knit I-cords like really loose. Like some people have to go up in a size because their I-cords are too tight. That is not my problem. So I aired on the side of a little bit narrower, and I'm certainly glad because imagine if I had done that neckline any looser, that would be crazy. I am using a woolly knit cone in merino cone in the color Bias. Oh, by the way, I didn't really show you before, but I still have a little bit left on this first cone. I did do the edging from the other cone, but like I'm going to be able to finish this whole thing with this cone and maybe like a tiny bit. Maybe not even break into the other one for like the actual body. That's wild to me. So like I, in essence, have another tank top in me for this yarn. Maybe. If I did something kind of scoop neck with like a similar gauge, I totally could get it out of that. Maybe I will. Who knows? It's probably going to go on the shelf for a little bit though. That yarn will get reshelved. It's 100% merino. It's 514 yards for 100 grams. Okay. Let's go to the Stripey turtle tank, which is the last project other than spinning. So this, as a reminder, is our KAL knit right now. So I am hosting a KAL, and it is all Emily Curtis patterns. This is semantics, right? But I have been seeing a lot of people, like a couple of friends and stuff, like put on Instagram that Emily and I are co-hosting. Emily is absolutely in the chat and is very grateful. Like, I'm very grateful. She is going to give away some patterns. If you didn't watch last week, we are having some gifts now, that are going to be anybody who completes their knit. Whips are welcome of an Emily Curtis pattern. You can win something back. And I'll have a Google sheet I will link in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And then you can put in your finished knits. But however, Emily is not doing any hosting activities for this. She has been in the chat, but she's on vacation right now, and I'm not going to give her any responsibility towards this at all whatsoever. She did put it on her Instagram though, and if you are coming at us from that, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Emily is a member of Pacific Knit West, which is our very fun little friend group of knitters here in the Pacific Northwest. We're all around Seattle. And if you have watched her podcast or know her or know anything about her, she's been traveling for the last year. So none of us have seen her since last September. But the first time we'll see her is at Flock. And so that is really exciting. And I decided to celebrate that reunion with Emily. We're doing a little pre-Flock knit along. This knit along started in May, goes until Flock. And I would encourage anyone, I'll put some stuff in the chat, obviously, when we're closer to, but anybody who is coming and wants to grab a picture with us, bring your Emily Curtis knit. We'll find Emily. We'll take a picture with her, which is very fun. I can't wait to see her. We did a knit night last week. And we're like a week and a half ago, and it was just so nice. It was right before she left for her trip, and like we hadn't even seen her for a virtual knit night in a while, so it was really exciting to see her. Okay, back to what this is. This is her pattern, the Stripey Turtle Tank. This is a bottom up striped tank top. I'm like kind of connected to like 3 balls of yarn right now, so sorry about it. Let me show you. I did split for sleeves last week and had done like 1 stripe. And now you can see I am a little bit further along. So here is my split. It is a cropped tank top. I'm going to stretch it when I block it just a little bit to give myself a little bit more space, especially like in the body part. I didn't want to add too many more stripes because I am working with a set of minis and I didn't want to run out. And I did do some extra math and things, and I will be fine with the yarn I have. And I will be fine with the size too. Like, it'll fit me fine with, I always wear high-waisted pants or whatever. So anywho, so here we are, tank top. I'm actually pretty close to getting, like, it is a turtleneck length, so I think I have like a tiny bit more to do. But I'm really close to doing like the neckline stuff, the little split, and then I will do the back and the join and the whatever, and I should be done with this relatively soon. This will not be my only Emily Curtis knit during the knit along. I will also be casting on a color tip tee. And I think I showed you guys this yarn a couple of times, but I'm committing this to the internet so that I do it. I'm going to do it in this really beautiful Junie and Sai yarn that I got at Flock last year, which is called Learning to Fly. And it's a fingering weight yarn, and that's a fingering weight t-shirt, and it's kind of a busy yarn. And so the color tip tee is plain old stockinette knit. The nice thing is that you can add your personalization or use minis up by doing like the tips. So your little sleeve cuffs, your collar, there is a pocket, an optional pocket you can put on it, the hem, etc., all in separate colors. I'm going to do, since you pick up all of those after the fact, right? Like, I'm going to do the majority of the body first and then decide if I do want to like add any tips or not, which I could certainly do. There's like a really lovely like mauvey pink in here. There's a really light pink in here too. And then there's obviously like this teal color, and I certainly have teal yarn. what I would not likely do is call out more of the, like the yellow that's in here. So it would probably be one of those cooler tones. Anywho, as soon as I'm done the stripy turtle tank, I will be casting this on. So that's the replacement for that needle. If you don't know, or if you're new to the podcast, I try to keep about the same amount of projects so I don't get like cast on craziness. And I, you know, try to have something in the wings for like as soon as I'm done. Something's either already wound and I'm ready to cast on. It just keeps me finishing things and from getting too overwhelmed, because I want things to be done. I don't want them to just sit on needles forever. Alrighty, let's move on. We're gonna move on to spinning. So I hadn't had a spinning update in a couple of weeks, and really since I did that 3-ply green Polworth yarn here. So I told you I was gonna do my first garment spin. I think this is gonna end up being a Tulsa tank top. This is my thought on it because it does not matter what yarn I get from it. There's that tank top is not out yet. It comes out like next week or in 2 weeks. It's going to be a fingering weight and a DK weight, and obviously gauge wise I can do some math to use one or the other if I get like a more sport weight. I imagine I'm going to get like a heavier DK, so also perfect for this. And the Tulsa tank has lots of options, so depending on what my yardage is, I'm definitely going to be able to make one of them, and with some pretty extras, maybe, who knows, whatever. But I find that, like, at least in my mind, that's what I'm going to do, because that's like not stressful to me. Like I just know I'll be able to make something with it. So this is the yarn. This is what I'm spinning. I thought I'd bring it all down for you to sort of see. I'll pop a picture up too of like all of them together real quick. But this is Barbiecore, dyed by Backloop Yarn Co. And she dyed on 2 different bases, and I bought like what she had left, and so this is on 2 different bases, so which is why I'm going to do a 3-ply, because I have 2 on this, which is super fine merino. It's very soft. It feels very nice. You can see what the braid looks like. There's a little bit of this kind of, hot pink, which is flamingo. This is flamingo, everybody, that I made Carissa's clay sweater, which, by the way, I gave to her this week, and she's been wearing it like nonstop, and she's so sweet, and she loves it, and she put, yeah, it is very fun. But yes, you can see this is the dye for flamingo. Okay. But this here is what I would describe as like a raspberry color. Like this is kind of like a pinky purpley color. And then there's truly some, like you can see down here, some lighter purple bits and some, you know, undyed or white bits, or very, very, it's actually all of it is like very, very light pink when it looks like white on the camera. Okay, so the braids are pretty consistently dyed, like as far as how much pink there seems to be in them. This is, let's call this braid 1, or that's really braid 3, because this is braid 2, which is the one that's on I did not bring this down because it's already set up on the ladybug and is in the middle. This is also the superwash merino, and this is just one of my little buddies, which you saw in the picture that I flashed up before. That's my prepped fiber. I'll tell you what I did for each of them too, and then this is what I've already spun. So this, like I said, there are 2 types of fiber. So 2 of them were the superwash or super fine merino, which is what I just showed you. And then this one was 70% merino and 30% mulberry silk. So you can kind of tell because there's a little, I don't know how much you can see it on here, but I can see it live. Like there's more shiny bits. It just does look shinier. And maybe when all the bobbins are done, it'll be more apparent, but I don't know if you guys are going to see a podcast episode when all 3 bobbins are done and not plied, because I'm getting a little impatient because I'm having a lot of fun, spinning this. So if I show this again, you can tell I'm trying to get closer to somewhere between a lace and a fingering, so that when I have 3 of them together, it's more like a DK. Not too thick, but not as thin as like I did I did a 3-ply for this and it's still like really thin. That's not the end of the world. Like that would be fine for me to knit something out of this. Actually, this is pretty nice. I just, yeah, I don't know. I just wanted something that was more of a DK weight. So it'll look probably more like my green yarn that I finished. Okay. So this bobbin is done. That's the whole 4-ounce braid. What I will get out of this is 3 4-ounce-ish. Well, I think they're 100 grams actually. So 3.5 ounce skeins, which is enough for me to make a tank top if it's DK weight. If it's not, we're going to get creative. I mean, I have this flamingo, which is the same yarn. Like this is the same color. So I will be able to like use this as an accent if I need to. And I think maybe that's the only full skein I have, and I might have a partial somewhere, like a half a skein or so. So here it is. I'm really excited for it to be like plied up because I think it's just going to be the most like bubblegum drop, like bright pink goodness. What I like is, because I did say the flamingo was too bright for me, I actually really love that picture of me in Carissa's clay sweater. But I also like, it's a lot. And this, I think like having the other colors mixed in there is going to tone the whole thing down like just a smidge, like tiny smidge, still really neon, but like less fully neon. I can't wait to send a picture of this to Erin. She's going to lose her mind because it's so good. So that is my Barbiecore spin. I really may be done with it this week. I am almost halfway through the second braid already. How I did the fiber prep for this. So for the first skein, I split it into 4, the whole braid 4 times, and then I spun like from point A to Z, just all of them. For the second braid, and because they're not, the braids don't have like distinct patterns of color change, I just picked one side to be the start. I did for the second braid, I split it into 6. And so 6 little, of these little boobies. And I tuck them all the same way. So I'm always starting at this first end that's tucked in here somewhere, you know, this little end. And I did, so when I also separated those, I did not draft any of it. So what I do is I set up for the next one and I pre-draft all the way through and then just have it sitting next to me and then I spin. I find with this super fine merino that like I need to pre-draft it because yeah, I just feel like I need to, otherwise I'm not getting like very good consistency. So the last skein, or the last braid, is a little bit of a crapshoot. So I'm letting the fiber sort of dictate because again, there's not distinct color changes. I don't need it to like fall, and they were not all dyed. Like it's not like at 2 inches of the braid, it's pink. And then at 6 inches, it's pink, right? Like they're a little bit random. Like she's clearly just kind of gone like this. So I don't think I need to do anything different. Like I could probably do 6 with it again. What I'm sort of doing is like letting the braid talk to me. So when I start splitting it, like how does it want to be split? So it might be 4, it might be 6. I'm really actually enjoying the 6 because it's thin enough that I don't have to do a lot of work and I'm not like peeling down one side or the other. I did struggle a little bit with the silk. It's quite a lot of silk, and like I should have probably just split more because you could see the veins of silk going through. So as long as I had a merino around a silk core to spin from, I would have been fine. But I had it was like kind of thick. So sometimes there's 2 bits of silk and then like I'd catch one or then the other. And like, it's fine. The consistency is okay. But yeah. So what I think I'm going to do also is, before I start my 3rd bobbin, I'm going to take the second one off when it's done, let it rest, and then my first one, I'm going to re-spin, like put it back onto another bobbin, and which is supposed to help your evenness, help your fibers all be in the same direction, make your finished yarn a little bit smoother. That's why I want to try it this time. So I am going to, I'm going to do that. Then I'm going to let the second bobbin rest, do the 3rd one, then do it with the second bobbin when the 3rd one's done. Let that 3rd one rest for 24 hours, then do. So maybe I really want, I don't know, it just sort of depends on when I finish the second bobbin. But maybe I'll have 2 or, you know, 3 finished and no plied yarn next week. Who knows? I just have been going through, like, usually it takes me like several days to spin a single from 100 gram or 4 ounce braid, which is 3.5 or 4 ounces. I did half of one yesterday, so I might finish this other half today. Let that, you know, do this thing, start the 3rd bobbin, and I have a long weekend, so who knows? Exciting. I'm really excited though. Okay, let's talk acquisitions. So I got quite a lot of yarn in the mail. Some I'd been really waiting for, and something I got on D-Stash, but that's okay. So this is my Taylor Swift yarn from Ruby and Roses. It got here on Saturday. Actually, all this yarn got here on Saturday, and it was the best yarn day I've had in a minute. These are so pretty. Okay, so what did I get? I got Soft Rose, which is the fingering weight of her 85-15 blend. So it's 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon, 4 ply, 437 yards for 100 grams. There's the details. Look how beautiful this is. Also, I love like a little plump skein like this. I just do. It's really, really pretty. Okay, this color is Wonderland. You've got this, like, there is like this almost orange moment down here. There's like pinks. There's that same sort of like raspberry color there, like a purpley pink color. There's green speckles. She's really, Addie's like the queen of like really fun, colorful speckles, to like just change up yarn that would be like otherwise regular variegated. This one has tons of speckles. Okay, so this is Melancholia, is the color, and this is the Rose DK. So same exact composition of 85-15, but it's 246 yards for 100 grams, and so it's a DK weight. Come on, camera, there you go. It's so pretty. Look at all that. It's just so cute. So I got a sweater quantity for this, which I have a plan I wrote somewhere in my phone, and I don't have it marked in Ravelry or on Monday yet because I didn't get it. And so normally once I catalog it, I will write it, like put the theoretical plan next to the yarn in my Monday board. And I did not do that for this yet because I didn't know where I put that note. But anywho, there's a million DK sweaters, and also I'd be open to something new and different for this, but it's so pretty, and I'm like so excited to make something with this. Like, I'm really craving more purple sweaters. I know everybody's having a purple moment right now, but like, I'm here for it. I like wear my Ashling all the time because I love that purple. It's just so pretty and vibrant, and this is like a pinky plus darker purple, same. So I know I'm gonna really love it. Okay, that's my, and I got a t-shirt quantity for this. So I got 3 skeins. I'm really excited to make something with this. They also smell really good. Addie uses wool wash, which I think a lot of dyers do, but to me, this smells, I don't know what scent she uses, but it smells like kind of like an Irish Spring. Like, it's a really like fresh kind of scent, which I really appreciate, that it's not like too, I don't know, stinky. It's nice. It's nice. I grabbed this off of the D-Stash Discord, this second thing, and I saw it and I knew I wanted it. Ariel just made a hat in this space. It's the Woolberry Berry Rambouillet worsted base. It is 100% non-superwash US Rambouillet, 200 yards for 100 grams. I have a couple of things to report. I didn't feel Ariel's hat before that, but given her review of the yarn, I was feeling like I wanted to try it too. What I will say is that I have spun only one Rambouillet yarn, which was my Sophie Shaw yarn. But Ariel spun me, if you remember, this really fluffy purple skein, which is Rambouillet I had gotten from a D-Stash from Erin, I think. really early in the spinning journey, or even probably before we took our class, and I was like, I'm going to risk it. I know I'm going to like it and get this. I struggled and just trying this on Ariel's Ladybug, and I gave it to her, and then she gave me back a skein because she's the nicest person ever. So I said when I got this, like, it feels so bouncy and like light and like soft, but almost like velvety soft. Like, it's a weird feeling. And I said the same thing about my Sophie shawl. Like, that yarn has like a really particular texture compared to anything else I've spun. And this does too. So like, it's not commercial versus hand spun. It's just Rambouillet. It's got like a really special kind of like, really, it is like a velveteen sort of feeling. Like, it just feels different than like any of these skeins up here. Like, yeah, sure, these are soft, but like this is different soft. So if you're really intrigued now, please go find some Rambouillet yarn. There's, you know, there's lots of people that have it like more mills maybe, and some, but like I think more dyers are getting different kinds of breeds, right? Like, it's not all merino all the time, which, like, let's let some of these other sheep shine, you know what I mean? So I got natural and no name, so a one of a kind, I guess. It is a very icy blue. I am going to make Le Bateau, I'm trying to flash a picture here, from Alexi Tapple. It's a free pattern that you can choose to pay, get a paid version of, but that's on her blog. I said this at midnight and they're like, you are crazy, but it's almost like a winter sailing is like these colors, because having the really icy blue rather than like a darker blue. But you know what I mean? Like, that's what I believe. That's what I'm going to stick with. It's my winter sailing outfit. Anyway, it calls for a worsted weight yarn. This is a sort of bulky worsted weight yarn. It's 200 yards for 100 grams, and it will work great with that pattern. I have enough to do the whole pattern in these two colors. I will likely try to do, like, I think I might, instead of having the white be the edges, which is what is written in there, but maybe at least the cuffs be blue, so that I'm not as worried about them, though this is a really light color too, so it doesn't really matter, I guess. Anyway, I think they look cute together. I definitely need to have the blue in there because this white is like a little bit, I mean, it's natural, so it's like undyed. It has that like sort of yellow cast. But yeah, I got a great price on them and I love them. So I'm very excited about getting that. And also a worsted weight sweater sounds really fun to do this fall. It won't be my only one, but I picked the pattern for that. So let's talk about books. This week I finished 3 books and I'm very close to finishing a 4th one. No, I finished 4 books. So I finished Wheel of Time, Crown of Swords, which now I know what a Crown of Swords is because it's in the last page of the book. Like, seriously. Anyway, so I finished that while I was spinning because, again, I said it's a great time for me to read those books. I did not pick up the next one, though, so I don't even know what that's called. I'll tell you next week. What I will actually try to get back and finish spinning tonight, reading that. I finished, otherwise, Funny Story by Emily Henry. You guys, it was so great. It was great. I really enjoyed it. It had all the things I like about Emily Henry books. It has all of the feels, and yeah, massively enjoyed it. It was an interesting story. It was one of those, she's sort of, I feel like she tends to write love stories that start out so cynically. And like, that's such an interesting thing, but like Book Lovers is like this also. So is Happy Place. I mean, they all are. They're sort of like, obviously that's a great story because it's not just somebody who has puppy dog eyes and falls in love and maybe just is naive and like whatever some love stories are. These are like some jaded peeps who bad things have happened to and they just like don't give up on themselves or love, or maybe they did, but they become reacquainted with the idea. Anyway, I enjoyed it. Some really, like, a cute cast of characters, like always, and some really also disappointing people. Still, God. Yeah, I just, yeah. I felt for both the main characters pretty massively. So that was, not that I have the same life circumstances, but like, woof, right? If you haven't got yourself on a wait list or purchased it, I would say it's worth it. Okay, so the second thing I finished was Graceling by Kristin Cashore. So, like I said, I got Funny Story and then I just stopped Graceling entirely and finished that. Okay, but Graceling was so good. It really picked up towards like the middle. And there was stuff going on. I mean, the beginning starts crazy. Like, it's not like it was boring or anything. But a lot of stuff goes on in that last half. And I just thought it was amazing. I'm really excited for the other books. There's, I think, 4 or 5 of them. I think I said 5 last week. And definitely interested to see what other things they get up to. Like, I don't know if it's different characters that you're reading. I have no idea. But Katza and Poe, great little duo. Yeah, really some surprising things happen, some kind of tragic, just a lot of interesting magic. Again, it's just such an interesting concept. There's not just like free floating magic in the world, and they're not necessarily people who have magical genres. It's like everybody who is magical has one very specific thing, but maybe works in interesting ways. That's all I really want to share about it. I don't want to tell you too much. I think if you like a story, I mean, there's definitely a little bit of love in there. It's a love story. I mean, it's like a lot of fantasy type books. Like, there's a lot of finding yourself, love for yourself, reappreciation of who you are, but also there's a little bit of a love story. There's like a whole family building kind of thing too, which I really love. Yeah, so excited to see what comes next. Okay, then I picked up the second in the Alex Stern series. So I read this in the fall. The first one is called Ninth House. It is a book series by Leigh Bardugo. It's not completed. So the first and the second are out and the third is not. I am a little sad. I don't hope it's not like a really long time. I don't even know. Let's see when this one came out. Oh, this was published last January. So hopefully like end of this year, maybe early next year, the next one comes out. So the first book follows, I mean, this one also sort of does a little bit of the time jumps, but the first one follows Alex Stern, who's the main character, or her real name is Galaxy. But it is her journey going from really horrible circumstances to Yale, because she has this special ability to see ghosts. She was born with it. And the ninth house is the house that sort of oversees all the other magical houses on Yale's campus, which are like all the secret societies. So like things that you have heard of, like Skull and Bones and, all of those societies. And there's 8 of those other ones. Anyway, they do like creepy magical rites, which like they each have their like genre of thing. It's very interesting, this kind of like if that was really what's happening, which like I didn't go to Yale and I'm not in a secret society, so I don't know what kind of weird crap they get up to, but it's like so believable that like privileged upper crust New England types would do this kind of crap that they're doing in here. But no, it's very interesting as a concept for shady magic in the world. And it's so, there's a lot of commentary about the social structure of this and, sort of magic and power being given to those who are already powerful. Read rich white dudes, right? I mean, and this is a thing that she struggles with. And also she works with a cop who's a black man, and he struggles with this concept for some of this also, and she works with like another female who's really smart, and like just the good old boys kind of mentality is like pervasive in this whole environment. So it's really interesting hearing some of this, but also it's just like this one, they're trying to get back someone who's in hell. Just the way they talk about like the concept of like what does that mean, and is the person still the person, and just like can they even do it. And there is a little bit of time jumping with this, but less so. You get more of the other characters, I think, like more strongly in this book, which is really good. And yeah, I'm a fan. It was good. It's just a really interesting concept, the whole thing that she's written up here. So that is what I read. I started also, I have like 20 minutes left of Penny's Protector, which is the, I think I've been giving numbers, which I don't actually think the Icehome books, like, they don't have numbers written on them or anything, but it's number 9 on Goodreads and number 10 on Amazon. And it's purely because one of the books is like 3.5 and it is a novella, and Amazon counted as 4. So, we're off numbers here, but I'm going to go with Goodreads. And this is, which is funny because they're also owned by the same company, but whatever. So number 9, which is good because I'm over the halfway mark, and I would like to just like, I'm a completionist. I want to finish all of them, regardless of the fact that they're like all a little bit one-notey. I like that eventually, like, Ruby Dixon gives them all, like, something else to worry about, but, like, some of it is, like, their main concern is always, like, just kind of one single concern. I think this one, she harps on it a little bit, like a lot, that it's the girl's main concern is that she doesn't want to become attached to someone before her Kui picks her mate or whatever, because... but she's also, like, she just thinks that'll give her a happy ending. She is someone who she felt like in her Earth life was always sort of like second pick for everybody. Like, she never had like a really like long-term boyfriend or someone who like really valued her. So she's like nervous about this whole thing. Valid. She talks about that a lot. But I also thought there were some good concerns that they talked about, which, like, once they're like matched and mated, the whole thing is like to get them pregnant, and then it's like their life changes. They don't get the same kind of freedom, and like a lot of these guys are like, I'm the hunter and you are stay at home, and she just like wants to be able to like adventure out and not be stuck, which I think that's an interesting concept. And yeah, we shall see what goes on at the end of this, because they find something that fell from space. And I don't know what it is yet because I didn't get to the last 20 minutes of the book. Okay, but that's all for that. So I'll keep reading. And yeah, I don't have much else to talk about today. I will be putting out, so this episode should come out tonight or tomorrow. It is, I didn't even say, it's May 23rd. And maybe tomorrow it'll come out, but I will be filming also but I will also be releasing maybe Monday, a really quick video. I do have a couple more pattern highlights that I want to do, but I just have not rated and ranked and gone through some of the patterns that I've put into bundles on Ravelry. So that should be coming soonish, but I wanted to put out a sort of testing 101 video. So I filmed, and I just need to like go through and edit and make some notes and stuff. But yeah, that will be also coming out in the near future. If you already tested it, like, you don't have to watch it or whatever. It's more just like, it's like semi-informational and also just my opinions on it, on test knitting. But I don't feel like there's really much other like, here's what a test knit is content. And I don't want to take a ton of time in a regular episode to go through some of my more like logistical thoughts and opinions about it. So about the whole process of. So if you want to watch that, look out for it this weekend. Okay, don't forget the achaoticmessKAL goes until July 1st. I know I couldn't remember before, but it is July 1st. So you have five and a half weeks or whatever to join if you want to. There are tank tops there. If you want a pattern, you can use my link. If you want to join our knit along, please do. We're on Discord. That link is at the top of the description section. And you can still get 25% off from Carrie at Can Be Crafty on her Etsy. I don't think I have anything else to share. I hope everybody who's in the US enjoys a nice long weekend. For everyone else, I hope that you enjoy the seasonal change. I think no matter where we are in the world, everyone's feeling some of this seasonal shift. You know, our friends down under are heading right into winter. So yeah, now you guys can get into all these fun fall makes, all the things you've been pinning in Ravelry. So as always, thank you for joining me. Please like, comment below, keep the conversation going. Find me on Instagram if you want to have a private conversation about anything. Any questions or anything else, just leave them below and I will talk to y'all soon. Thanks. Bye.